Good morning from Dearborn, Michigan. I have been up since 3:30 this morning, traveling up here to Michigan from South Carolina. Fun flights, easy flights. But today I am here so we can go and tour
the Henry Ford Museum of American Innovation. I've already got our tickets, so the only cost to you is a like and subscribe. Let's get started. As you first walk in, you are met with Observe Northwest DC3 letting you know there is more to this museum than just a bunch of old Ford vehicles. They have trains, planes, automobiles, and a lot more. This information board / map shows the different attractions and sections of the museum. One of the staff members recommended doing a clockwise trip around the museum. So turning right, you first start off with a line of presidential limousines, starting with a 1972 Lincoln Continental used by Presidents Nixon, Ford, Carter, and H.W. Bush. But it is known as the limo that Ronald Reagan was getting into when he was shot by John Hinckley in 1981. Next is the most prominent limo in the group is the 1961 Continental that John F. Kennedy was sadly assassinated in on November 22nd, 1963 in Dallas, Texas. Here it is shown with a permanent rooftop that was of course added after the assassination, along with other armored upgrades. The vehicle went on to be used by Presidents Johnson and Nixon. Moving on to the Bow Top. This limo was built in 1950 for President Truman, but was used most by President Eisenhower from 1952 till 60, and added the stylish bubble top himself. It was used also by Presidents Kennedy and Johnson as a spare until it was retired in 1967. After the bubble top, we have the vehicle that was called the Sunshine Special. It was built in 1938 and was the first vehicle built specifically for presidential use. When used by President Franklin Roosevelt, he loved to ride with the top down even after protection upgrades were placed following the attacks on Pearl Harbor, and hence its nickname as the Sunshine Special. This vehicle was also used by President Truman until its retirement in 1950. Walking over to the last exhibit on Presidential Row, we have a 1902 broom that was used by Theodore Roosevelt for official occasions. After his presidency during the Taft administration, automobiles were ushered into use, and this carriage was retired in 1928. A quick note to add, the museum also has a Greenfield Village outside, where they have T-model car rides, train rides, and homes and exhibits from around the country that show even more the formation of America over the years. It was closed during my visit in early spring, but I plan to return this summer with the family, and we'll post a video, so subscribe to the channel so you can catch that. On to the next exhibit, which is all about railroads. You're able to walk down long rows of different locomotives and train cars. Some of the highlights are the Allegheny steam locomotive from 1941, the steam locomotive Sam Hill from 1858, a railroad refrigerator car from 1924, and a impressive Canadian Pacific snowplow from 1923. After touring the railways, the next exhibit, and as a NASCAR fan, one of my favorite exhibits, is the Driven to Win Racing in America. In this section, they have over 20 race cars, from soapbox derbies, Indy cars, NASCARs, and more. Here we have a cutout of a NASCAR cockpit showing you the confined space that these drivers sit in for over 500 miles at a time. In the Motorsports Performance Training Center, you can test your skills as a pit crew member for NASCAR, or you can sit behind the wheel of a race car in the simulator and test your skills as a wheelman. Also on display in the center is the Woods Brothers number 21 winning race car driven by Trevor Bayne in the 2011 Daytona 500. And just so happened that on the day I was visiting, the Wood Brothers and new driver Josh Berry were at the museum to unveil the paint scheme for the throwback weekend at Darlington for one of their upcoming races. Next, we move on to the Driving America exhibit that showcases a collection of historically significant vehicles, from Henry Ford's first gas-powered vehicle to the hybrid 2002 Pierce. There are displays that show how through the years, automotive innovations have changed our lives and influenced American culture. Built in 1927, Bluebird number 1 is considered one of the oldest school buses in America. Visiting Heroes of the Sky, you can see a reproduction of the 1903 Wright Bros plane they used for America's first flight. Also featured is the actual 1925 tri-motor airplane Richard Byrd claims to have reached the North Pole in. There is controversy in whether or not he actually made it to the North Pole, but nevertheless, it is cool to see a plane that was used to even explore that area during the time. So it was time for lunch. Headed down to Mickey D's for a 15-cent burger. Yeah, I wish. This sign was from 1960, after the McDonald's brothers started up franchises of their limited fast food restaurant ideas, turning America into a fast food nation. And even though there is no McDonald's in the museum, there is a 1950s era diner right there where you can stop by for a quick lunch. I made my way through the fully furnished section that had exhibits from the 1600s to present day, and then a tour of all the farming equipment and tools used by American farmers. It is amazing to see the advances made throughout the years. Finishing up my day at the museum, I took a trip through the Liberty and Justice for All exhibit. This hall takes you through America's fight for freedom, from the Revolutionary War, anti-slavery movement, women's rights suffrage movement, all the way to the civil rights movement. First, going through America's fight for independence from Britain, you are able to see displays like the folding bed used by George Washington during the war, and an engraved copy of the Declaration of Independence commissioned by John Quincy Adams, one of only 200 made. Next, in the exhibit hall, you move into the fight to abolish slavery and what drove the country to civil war. They have a original copy of Harriet Beecher Stowe's book, Uncle Tom's Cabin, and one of the more famous exhibits in the museum is the rocking chair that Abraham Lincoln was sitting in when he was sadly assassinated while watching a play at Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C. My day ended with a walkthrough of the actual bus that Rosa Parks was sitting in when she refused to give up her seat in what many people consider the incident that sparked the civil rights movement. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this place is amazing. I've been here for about 3 hours and I definitely didn't see everything that they have to offer. I mean, they have so many exhibits. It's a full day adventure that you'd have to plan here. I highly recommend it. I want to thank y'all for coming along with me. If you can, please give a like and subscribe. I'd appreciate it. And we'll pick up more museums around the country. See ya.